This is my recap of Ink Masters Season 4, Episode 1. So the premiere. So they come in, they bring in 17 new contestants. So, well, 16 new contestants, and then Kyle from last season. So during the finale, they had a competition and he won, and so he earned his way in. The way that they did this was, instead of saying that they're going to eliminate one person, they instead said that we have 16 shops and you have to earn your shop. Kyle's already earned his shop, so he doesn't even participate in this episode's challenge. Now for the remaining 16, their first challenge is to tattoo convention style. Now I have to admit, I don't have tattoos. I have a lot of friends who do. I've been to tattoo parlors and stuff like that, but I don't have tattoos. Just going to be honest about that. I'm not going to pretend I'm some expert. But I've definitely never been to a tattoo convention. So I don't know a ton about them, but it's clear that they just kind of have tables. They don't have any references. They don't even have like the fancy tattoo chairs. They just have like folding chairs that they're kind of making work. One thing that was clear that they did not mention about the challenge is that they were definitely assigned, like, here's your first client and so on and so forth. Because, you know, you never see someone going, oh, hey, what do you want? Oh, a dolphin? Okay, well, what do you want? Tribal band? What do you want? Oh, a dancing frog? Okay, come on. I mean, they were definitely giving people their particular clients, and they indicated at one point that they couldn't just pass someone off and they had to do that tattoo before they could go to the next one. So they all had different strategies. Some of them wanted to bang out a couple of easy ones and then go slower. Some of them wanted to do a whole bunch of just good ones. Some of them were like, I don't care how many I do, I'm going to do the best on each individual one. And kind of every other option there is. So it worked for some of them and it did not work for others. So 5 artists did well enough to where they moved them on. And that was Maddie, Scott, Ashley, Sausage, and Jim. So just so you know, I have my little cheat sheet. I am not even going to attempt to talk about every contestant. Normally, if I was to say, make a note and say, you know, face tattoo or mohawk, that would probably be sufficient for me to remember who the person is, but not on this show. So I can't even keep them all straight. So 5 of the contestants got their way onto the show during this first challenge. Now, one of the things I want to say is they gave, they gave Roland a really hard time about his cat. So his cat was sort of like, the cat extended beyond the boundaries of the cat. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was kind of big and fluffy, and they hated it. Now, I kind of am using loosely 3 categories of criticism that they have on the show. They have technical issues. So that's things like your circles aren't round. You didn't, the color's not an even fade. The color's not pushed in correctly. The skin's all beat up. The straight lines aren't straight. The points aren't points. Those are technical things that have to do with how you handle the machine, and they're kind of over here. In the middle, they kind of have design, but they're technical design things, like when the perspective isn't right, so that it doesn't look right. The animal, the head's too small for the body. It's not lined up correctly, so that the ears are kind of facing this way and the eyes are kind of facing this way and the nose is kind of facing that way. Like, those are technical design problems where the design is not put together correctly. It's facing the wrong way. It's facing into the armpit. Things like that. And then the third category are really kind of subjective art things. So, and I feel like their criticism with Roland was really a subjective art thing. They didn't like the design. They didn't make any complaints about the line weight, or they didn't like the design. So I always kind of am like, when they don't like the design, in the sense that the design's put together correctly and it's tattooed correctly, but they just don't like it. And you go, well, you know, if that's what the person wants and they're putting it on their body and they're going to wear it and it's executed well, yeah. So anyway, so they had that problem with Roland. Now, for the remaining, 11 designers who had not earned their shop, they had one more challenge, and it was 6 hours, any design you want, any style you want, which was cool because you always hate to see when people get sent home. They have a wonderful portfolio, and they say they never got to do their style. So at least this immediately removes that from the equation. So they go ahead and they do it. And there were some really great ones. The female Frankenstein just blew me away. They made a good point with it just being really dark, but I really liked it. When I saw it, I gasped. I thought, wow, she's really good. So so that's kind of how I felt about that. The one that was really confusing to me was Randy. He had the kind of watercolory ship. They really, really dogged on it. And I just did not see where it was that bad. I'm not saying it was the best design I've ever seen, but I didn't think it was that bad, and neither did my husband. And I tweeted about it, and a few other people were like, "Yeah, I don't get it either." So I was a little confused. I will say this about this particular show, more so than probably anyone I watch, which is they clearly cast people with huge egos who have no problem being the bad guy. Because consistently through all the seasons, there is so much fighting. And I will say that it is even true of the judges. They have no problem being jerks. And that's, I mean, there's definitely a positive to that, which is they're not sucking up to everyone and trying to, But sometimes I feel when I watch this show, like I'm in a car with a bunch of 13-year-olds and I just want to go, no one cares. No, just shut up. Because they fight, so, they get these really big ego things about, well, you haven't been tattooing long enough. Well, you didn't go to art school, and you just feel like going, you're not fighting about anything. You're just fighting about who's better with no proof. So you're not even using, well, I didn't like your design. And everyone there is ready to fight all the time. So that's the one thing about this show. I do enjoy the artistry. I always love learning about a new subculture. But the one thing of this show is that sometimes I really appreciate the artists who are a little bit more real about, like, gee, I don't know if I did very well, or man, I'm kind of nervous, or the ones who are like, yeah, I think I'm the best here, but I'm just going to play it. I appreciate those people more, and maybe that's because they're counter to these huge egos. But anyway, tonight is the next episode, so I will see you soon.